Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, intuitive coach and founder of the Awakened Goddess Academy. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Well, welcome, Rhonda, to the Awakened Goddess Show. I am super excited to have you joining me today because, I don't know, just the idea of talking to you, I'm feeling really sassy. So, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So, oh my gosh, we're going to start somewhere that I've never started before.
Okay.
Because, you know, we've hung out for a while on the online community, and a big topic that comes up a lot is this whole idea of woo-woo and this term. And you and I, we're both so-called woo-woo, and we're way out there, according to some. To me, I don't mind the term when I'm using it, or when people like in that arena are using it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes in the past, I've heard people kind of say, oh, that woo-woo stuff, kind of more in a dismissive or dismissive way, or they maybe just don't understand. So I just want to kind of have a conversation around this idea and how we can dispel what the hell woo-woo means.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah. So, because, you know, nothing really feels woo-woo to me. And maybe I'm just like, maybe I got this weird woo-woo gene, but I don't think so. I think that for me, what I've learned is that the more I step into like the unseen world, the unknown, I get more and more comfortable with these things that are outside of my awareness or things that I haven't heard about before. So what's your experience?
Okay, well, I kind of lump sum it in my brain as more of like a metaphysical mindset of such. And some people are not quite comfortable. And actually, I get a lot of clients will come to me and go, I don't feel like I'm woo-woo enough. And, you know, sometimes woo-woo does put that in a mindset. I use it as fun and games with like-minded friends. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in a professional realm and something like that, that tends to, you know, you lose people. Mm-hmm. And if you put like a more of a metaphysical mindset out there, they can connect with that. Because a lot of times people connect woo-woo mindset or whatever as just being flaky. And so when I reframe it into more of a metaphysical mindset, that helps shift right there. But I feel that, you know, honestly, when people tell me they don't think they are, my first question is are you breathing? Okay, well then you are. You're woo-woo, you're metaphysically minded. I believe we all have these capabilities. Every single person, and it is whether or not, it's where we put our awareness. And I come from a family and a background where this was abundantly rich in my life, you know. And so I thought everybody lived this way. I really did. I did not know that my lifestyle was different from everybody else. So sometimes, you know, coming from that kind of a background where I'm like, my dad was a naturopath. He did stuff with a paranormal psychology lab at Duke University. I mean, like I was taught to meditate at the age of 5. I came in talking about past lives. And it was okay with my family. That was fine. Didn't raise an eyebrow. And so I come from a background like that where it's the norm. And I really want to normalize it for other people because I do not think that like that woo or paranormal or the metaphysical, I don't feel like that's different. I don't feel like it's a different realm. I feel like we all access it all day long. And it's whether or not we put our attention to it or not. So for me, it's commonplace. And for stepping out of that, I don't know how to step out of it. That's all I know.
Right.
But for people bringing the awareness and bringing it in, you do use it. You just don't realize that you do a lot of times. So people will say, down in my gut, I just felt like I shouldn't have stepped across the street. Well, you just did it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's and a lot of times people try too hard, and when you try too hard to tap in, when you try too hard to tap in, you also push it away, and you struggle with it whenever there's no need for that struggle. It's the art of allowing it to come through. Gentle acknowledgement, every day, whatever, something. If you have to train yourself to start to acknowledging everything, then it'll start to come through a lot more abundant. It seems weird for me to talk about that, being that I've got a lifelong history of this, but I tried to step away from that in my late teens and early adulthood. Just tried to block and get away from that sort of thing, and then I just let it come back in, because it is what it is. It's who I am. It's who we all are. So did that answer that?
I wasn't looking for any specific answer, but and that's I think that's kind of like the bigger picture of all this, is that it is it's not tangible. It's not something we can point at and say that's, put a label on it. And that's what I love about this world, is there's so many dimensions to explore, and there aren't any limits. It's like you keep stepping into it, and there's more and more and more. And you could just go on YouTube, and oh my God, I just am like blown away by what you can find on YouTube.
Oh, it's fantastic. I go to YouTube University every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I want to hear more about your childhood, growing up, and having a life where you have always been an empath, a clairsentient. Let's talk about that. And I would love to just hear some more.
Okay. Well, I did not realize I was a clairsentient until I was an adult. It took me that long to piece it together. Being that I did not have, like people have, like a spontaneous spiritual event or something like that happen in our life. I didn't have that at all. So I was born this way. I came in, my earliest childhood memories were actually quite terrifying, to be quite honest. It was brutal for me, even though I came from a family that accepted every bit of who I was and what I was aware of. And took me serious when I was talking to the angels in the trees. Like my first experience with that is I talked to the angels in the trees, went and said prayers for my aunt who was in a nursing home, wasn't supposed to get out, and she was out in a few months, and she always attributed to that. And I vaguely even remember that. But the terrifying things was I would see a lot of things. I would see energy movement. I would see energies coming off of people. Nighttime was horrific. I don't think I slept much of the early childhood years, because I would see, and I would talk about it, and but a lot of times I didn't have the words to explain it, even though I had the super supportive family. I didn't know that everybody else wasn't going through what I was going through. To me, it was the norm. So I would see energies, I would see shifts. I would, they would come to me. I would be touched at night, and now, as I got older, I realized that wasn't going on with everybody else, but it was with me. And, it took me until like my teen years where I could understand, like I could say, please go away. I can't do this right now. But, I would see loved ones. I had a dog that passed away, got up on my bed after she had passed away. So, like multitudes and multitudes of experiences like that. I learned at the age of 5. My father was training in hypnotherapy. I was his guinea pig. So I kind of learned to hypnotize myself from being used so much that I learned to do it. So that was something that kind of helped me along the way. I didn't even realize that I was using self-hypnosis. I didn't realize it until, probably late teens, because we had one of those biofeedback machines. I learned how to bring myself way, way down. And I would play with that, like in the fourth grade every day. I put it on and just, that bringing yourself down, So, I mean, to me, I didn't know people didn't do that. I didn't know everybody didn't do that, that was considered to be different. So, as far as the clairsentient thing, and I'm not sure if this, for those that are listening that are not familiar, clairsentience is a little different from an empath. An empath, we feel the empathy, and sometimes we take on the emotional realms of stuff like that for individuals. Whereas a clairsentient is like, it is jacked up. Like I physically have feelings in my body. And being that I tried to disconnect it for so long, I got really good at like kind of hypnotizing some of it away, and now I let it come in and I use it at a different level now than I did before. I thought it was a curse as I was growing up, but like I would have physical sensations. You can have bouts of psychometry with that, or you can look at a picture and you can feel and know what's going on. You can have bouts of clairvoyance. You can have bouts of clairaudience. All of that is kind of skewed. The biggest thing for me that has always been consistent was the physical feelings. And so it just took me, I didn't understand stuff, didn't make sense, the things that I felt. And, didn't know how to explain it to anyone. So like I had a grandmother who was going through a really, really rough time. My grandmother committed suicide when I was 9 years old. And it completely shaped my whole life, actually. And I probably have a really different viewing on suicide than probably a lot of other people. I don't feel it is as horrendous as a lot of people. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
I think whenever we decided, all death to me is a form of whenever we're done. So, but anyway, it really shaped me a lot because I was taking on a lot of her sensations unknowingly, and she had a lot of issues with her spine, was in severe pain, had been hospitalized for it. No one could do anything, and then they ended up putting her on Prozac, and it was in its experimental stages, and it went awry, and she lost her life. And so, but see, like the thoughts and sensations and things that I was having prior to her dying just did not make sense to me, and I couldn't. It was and I didn't know how to explain it to anybody. So so other bouts of things throughout my life. I had a cousin that she had a miscarriage. She was so early in her pregnancy, she had not told anyone. And I did not know that she was pregnant, but then I physically went through the miscarriage myself, and that was how I found out she was pregnant. I had all these physical sensations in my body and did not know what was going on. And that's just one of many. That's an extreme one. Then of course I've had probably many faux pregnancies in my life or whatever, where someone close to me or whatever would be pregnant, and I would, before I even knew it, I'm going through the sensations and things like that. And it would happen even outside with people that I did not know. And so I had to learn how to navigate that in life. As an adult, it's actually really fun now. And,
yeah. Once you can recognize that, because I imagine that a lot of people use things to stuff down these feelings that they might be having, whether it's food or being busy or TV or, whatever kind of thing that they suppress with.
And I'll tell you, like, my personality is I'm not a person that would do that. I always
Of course not.
I like to pick things apart. I'm very philosophical and cerebral. And so I like to pick things apart. And I don't allow myself an out to run away from anything. I just don't. I've never have. It is who I am. So I'll always pick it apart, probably too much. But like, later years as an adult and everything, and being an empath and also clairsentient, it changed the dynamics on how, like, I think I hear a lot of people say that they feel out of place in the world. And there was at points that I did. Well, I do not anymore. You can put me anywhere. And there's going to be a common denominator with me and people. We're all people. We're all people.
Mm-hmm.
And so people that live a vastly different lifestyle than me, I don't, I'll find a way to blend. You can chameleon with that stuff, and it's so much fun. It's so
Yes,
much
it is.
fun. I travel, and everybody always thinks I'm from wherever I happen to be. So I must look like I know what I'm doing. I don't know why, but you just, you start to feel into it, and you just feel, to me, it's more of being a part of a whole. I've learned how to use it so that, I can embrace more, and life is so much more,
Yeah.
and then the isolation of the other. So it's been a long process, a lot of history, a lot of trials, and all of that, and then there's another one. I'm really I'm also known for clearing spaces. It's just something that I've done forever. We trained with quite a few different people in a lot of different modalities, and like a big one, like I probably first started clearing energies and stuff like that in probably my early college years. And my father went and trained with Francis McNatt, who is world renowned for what he does. I don't know if you've heard of him or not,
Mm-hmm.
but he is Father Francis McNatt did he cleared. I would guess you would say some of them considered to be exorcisms. I look at it as a little bit different, but I was exposed to that sort of thing. So that started some, and then I've done a whole lot of other things. But so I've been, um, bringing the clairsentience into something like that, like the clearing abilities, just took it to a whole nother level. Like I've had people to call me to clear businesses and things like that, clear the energies and things like that. And it was a really fun one. A friend of mine had a really fantastic house across from the castle in Newbern, an old house. And that she was a massage therapy clinic and everything. And this 2-story, we had great parties there, great parties at that house. She could not clear some of the energies. And she's like, I need you to come in. And I went around the whole place over and over again. And there was someone following me. I allowed someone that was working there to hang out while I was clearing. And I come back up to my friend at the end, and I'm like, I just have this physical sensation. Now, mind you, it's just fun, because since I'm clairsentient, I get these sensations of things that I have no experience in whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had any sexual trauma in my life, okay? But yeah, I can feel those, like a gynecologist office. That's just like hell for what people have been through. But anyway, I go up to her and I'm like, I cannot, there's been a rape somewhere I have walked this property inside, outside, gone around the perimeters, and it is me everywhere I go. I can't find where I'm locating it. It was the person that was hanging out with me, and I did not know that. I was feeling that, and I was like, the sensations are so strong. And when that person left, all of that was dissipated. The properties were cleared and everything. And yeah. It's like, so it's just, bringing that type of thing in with what I've learned with clearing, and then, then having the physical sensations kind of takes it to a different level. And it's interesting when you find out later, like what you're feeling and what you're physically feeling. And this, because I usually don't want to know.
Right.
And
You
so
don't
I
want to
could have
skew
like,
yourself.
yeah, I don't. I was like, whatever's pure and it happens to come through, this is what I'm feeling, and I go into a room and I'm like, the energy in this room, this is what I feel. And she's like, okay, someone committed suicide in this room. Okay, now I know, because I start talking about the erratic or whatever whatever the presentation comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does bring a different twist to that whole process. So it's been a lifelong, and I'm always going to learn. I will never ever master this. I don't believe that that's possible. So I'm always going to be a student of how this unfolds for me. And I'm grateful for that because I like to learn. So.
Yeah. Well, and that again goes back to that idea that there aren't any limits, and you're constantly stepping into just expanded awareness, stepping forward into this. And that's why it is so much fun to play with it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I suppose, when you're first starting out and you see maybe a spirit for the very first time, or you have this kind of this premonition and then something happens, that can be a little frightening. But I think that the more that you allow that and you step in, it's like you just open up these doorways and
You do, and and the thing of it is even with the lifestyle of it, I still get spooked. As recent as yesterday,
yeah.
as recent as yesterday, and after this podcast, I'll share with you a picture. I did a course with a friend of mine called the Chakra Immersion, and we all did pictures with our pendulums. That's the method that she uses in her program, and I had my pendulum in front of my head, right, like about forehead length, and I had my eyes closed, and pictures are taking, my eyes are closed, they've been closed, and in the center of my crystal, there is an open eye. And so this, yeah, I'll share that with you. And everybody's like, how? I don't know, and I'm like, oh my God, So even though it's everyday life, I still find a way to spook myself on something. Wasn't expecting that, but even though that should be the norm at this point, but it's still, it's all new every day.
Yeah. Well, and so do you consciously step into other dimensions? Would you say that
Cool.
or
I, I consciously and subconsciously do it. I do tremendous amount of work in the dreamtime state because I'm able to let go of everything. So unconsciously, and then it'll be brought back to my consciousness later. I actually work with a lot of my clients that way too.
and when
And so
when you're talking about the dream state, are you talking about physical sleeping or a meditative dream
I'm
state?
talking about physically sleeping and then shifting.
Mm.
Because and then I will be lucid, and I'll become lucid, and then I'll wake up. But I do have clients that that I have started, and I'm like, okay, our session actually started yesterday, and this is what happened. And and I'm going to tell you, I'm a really, but do I consciously do it as well? I do, absolutely. I find that I tend to slide easier from the dream state than I do consciously because I'm just bombarded with so much stuff all day long. Whenever I don't have, for me, this is why I go walk in nature like every day or ride my bike or something, because a lot of the EMFs and stuff like that I'm sensitive to, electromagnetic frequencies and all of that kind of stuff, and it can distract me. And if I can be unplugged from that, that's when I do it. So do I do it then? Absolutely. And then the retrieval, that is actually when I get most of my information. And I just allow my physical body to go and my mental body to go into, I don't even know how many, several different dimensions. And I think this is the reason why I've always been able to see the things that I see. And I think this is also the reason why people see things. I'm going to just talk in 3D for right now.
Sure.
In 3D, which is what everyone was born into. And in that 3D state, we only understand and comprehend things that are 3D. And then I think there are those moments of time. There's, when people I don't discount people seeing aliens. I don't discount people seeing Bigfoot. I've seen Yeti. I really have. That may be the first time I've publicly said that. But I think that you have these glimpses into other dimensions, and we're only living and understanding. We're just going to talk about the 3D concept. This for the majority of the population,
Right.
and so you can't take in all the stuff of all the other dimensions that are present. And I believe there's actually more than than science has figured out at this point. But so so we're all here. That's like, to me, like heaven is not the concept of heaven and our loved ones is not like a faraway place. We're all stacked right here on top of each other. And when you get that glimpse through the time, then then you're able to access that information. And I think it's something that I've always done, and that's why it scared me so bad as a child, that I would see these things, that the entities or beings. I hate to use the word entities for that, but I would see them as I was able. At nighttime, it was much easier for me to slide into that, and when stuff was still. Doesn't mean that it's the only time it happened, ever, because it still happens, and I still get caught off guard at this point in my life. But I do consciously take the time whenever I am unplugged to access other dimensions and see other things and retrieve other information. And and then sometimes when I get too much for what I can take in, I'll be flat a few days, because like my physical body has to catch up with what I've gotten. As of late, like I've just spent 3 weeks trying to catch back up to myself. I finished up a program I did, Money Energy Experiments, and I always allow myself to go limitless with that and be broad. And I take in everything that comes, and it opens the doors, and so much stuff comes that I have to like close down for a while and assimilate, because I still live in a physical body. And I'm a Taurus. I'm a real physical kind of person. I'm an active person. I'm a martial artist. I'm really rooted in this physical body. So I have to assimilate when it's been massive, massive amounts of information. So like from what I've just gone through 3 weeks, it's going to take me a little while longer to finish putting it all out there. But it was conscious opening at the door and stepping into and saying, come at me. All right, let's do this game. What do you want me to do? What can you show me? But, I think everybody, actually, people do tap in, just trying to talk in a real generic 3D mindset. People do tap in and don't understand that that's what they're doing. These things that they see do exist in other dimensions. I don't discount anything. I believe I've seen it all. Well, I haven't seen it all. That will never happen. But I've seen a lot,
Yeah.
and I will continue to see a lot, because I'm open to that and I welcome it. But that's what happens to me. You've gotten a glimpse. You see a loved one, or you see something that it comes in and filters in and out. Or you get that message, like music I've written, it just comes in. I've never been able to duplicate or whatever. It comes through that door and that window. And I've heard the music that no one else around me heard. And I'm like, did you hear that? It's the most beautiful. Well, I have chills. The most beautiful music. And I'm like, who has a CD and who is playing it? And we're nowhere. But that door opened, and I entered forward into it. And that, happens. So, and that's why I don't discount anything that anybody goes through ever.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot of it is about shifting your awareness and tuning in. So I'm wondering, is there a specific process that you personally go through to open up that doorway, that channel?
Yes, there is. There is a process, and it doesn't have to be a strict process, because I think a lot of people try to do it. Because I spend all my time in the dojo. So I play with this. I'm a martial artist. Energy is my entire life. It is everything that I do. So the first thing, and the reason why I say that is because if anybody has any background with that, it's going to maybe sound a little generic. It's the whole relax completely thing. And to ground myself, I find that whenever I let go of the direction and let it drive itself is when things will happen. Yes. So trying to force, I can recommend Power versus Force. Trying to force a message or force seeing something or anything like that it just puts, number one, a lack mentality in your brain, and it puts a block up. So you want to allow for anything. You want to embrace anything. So I go through, for me, the best way to do that is to work the physical body. Working the physical body is very grounding. It's a technique that it's a no-brainer. Instead of, I have people come to me and they try to concentrate and root and just do something physical. Yeah. Eating is very physical too. All right. I mean, so have a snack before you do something. Don't be too heavy, but that will help ground you. Have a snack afterwards if you've been too out there. That grounds you instantly. Whatever, but to relax completely within the physical body, because this is your tool. It's here to help you. It's not people want to get rid of their physical bodies and be out here, but this is the vehicle with which we access. So what I do is I relax completely. I go out, I walk in nature, or I work out. If I want to do a really strenuous workout, if I want to really work out in the dojo or something like that, that is fantastic, because you cannot focus on anything once you get to a certain point, except the present moment. I also recommend laughter. I'm a professional laughter yoga leader, and I use that. Nothing is the grandest, highest form of meditation as far as I'm concerned, because it pulls you fully into the present moment.
Yes.
When you get to that present moment, that is where like all the magic starts. That
Mm-hmm.
is, you just release and allow. Don't say, I want to know blah, 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 blah. I want to know if this is going to happen at such and such days, or I demanded this is going to, you can't do that. You can't. I
As
don't care
much
what
as we
anybody
want
says.
to.
I mean, but when you do that, you lose so much.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past, and then you got the blinders on. Like I only want to see Bigfoot, and that's all I'm going to accept, and blah blah blah. And I may miss all this wonderful stuff, downloads that came over here.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I like to be broad and limitless and expansive. So
Yeah, you could be
literally,
looking for Bigfoot and you miss the aliens,
yeah, I
the
know, and it's the
UFOs.
truth. So anyway, that is what works for me. It's not really that complicated, but we find ways to make it complicated.
Yes.
I've found.
Isn't that true? Well, even when we're asking we get into this perfect state, right? We have the perfect environment. We've done our saging with, of course, Rhonda's
Yay!
spirit mist, uh, and then we get in this perfect space, right? And then we ask the question, we receive the message, and then we overthink it, and then we try to complicate it, and we're like, no, that can't be it.
Yes, absolutely,
I didn't really
absolutely.
see a UFO or a Yeti or a ghost or a spirit.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we do. And then we test it, and then we hire somebody. And then I'm serious. Well, my son, I taught him to do muscle testing, and and I'll get the answer, and I'm like, honey, come here, I need you to test me. Blah, blah. I'm not sure, even though I got it, and muscle test, and then let me call up somebody and ask, and I'll call my
Yeah.
mom, and then, and then the rest of the team, and then. Even though
Yeah.
you get it, we complicate it. We do complicate it. And so I do find, get out there, get in the ocean, go in nature. I know some people, it may not be popular to do that, but I think getting away from all the excessive
Hmm.
is how you step in. And I have stepped into some beautiful, beautiful things that, I'm so deeply grateful for. And and I do like a program. There's another way, but this one is. I'm sure there are plenty of Reiki people that watch. For those of you that are Reiki, I like to do an immersive type thing. I actually run several programs a year, and they're my Reiki grid programs where I set it up, and I do like 10-day and 5-day intensives where I'm running my Reiki grids 24/7. I'm in contact with my clients, and that is the most beautiful work then. And that's where I'm consciously going in, and I don't do anything else during that time frame. I don't really leave, my grid, my house, and I'm like highly focused all day long, one person after the other. What's the message that I get? I get a lot of stuff. I record things.
Hmm.
Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say. I will literally sit down, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of videos at this point, and I just
Hmm.
click and record, and just whatever comes out, and then I go
Right.
back and listen to it because I want to know what happened,
Yeah.
because any group I speak to, sometimes I get so mesmerized in the message and stuff coming through that I go back, I take off my digital voice recorder, and I listen to it, I record it
Hmm.
so that I can get the message. So like a complete submersion is a really great way. If you have time, you don't have to do 5 and 10 days like I do, but that consciously stepping in and saying, I'm going to do, Reiki, I'm going to take a break and eat, and we'll do another way. And to me, that's not like forcing meditation either.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that tends to be where you get into that force thing, and you're not going to get the message. You're not going to win yourself over into what your higher being wants to tell you when you're trying to force it.
Yeah.
So, even through laughter, whenever you engage in that, you're not forcing, and that allows.
Hmm.
I've gotten tremendous insight from laughter. Like the message will just boom,
Just
and
pops in.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I've crowded out. I mean, everything else can't exist. It cannot exist when you're in that present moment, and that's really when the beautiful things happen. It's
Yes.
amazing.
It's true because it's like sometimes we can get so wrapped up into an intention that we set or something that we want to create, whether it's money or we're trying to create something new.
Hmm.
And we get so focused on it and then we get our energy so tight around it that it's like we're just trudging along and nothing is showing up.
Hmm.
And it's those times when you step away and you can create that space that all of a sudden, like you say, it's like that magic happens. And then you open up the doorway, it releases that energy, and then what you're looking for just appears out of nowhere, and you're like, but I haven't been doing anything.
And actually, I call it active observation. And you step outside of that, and you
Mm-hmm.
think you haven't been doing anything, but you have.
Yes.
You've laid the pathway,
Yep.
and then you get the hell out of the way, and it will come. It will come so freaking fast when you get out of the way that you will be astounded.
Yeah.
I have been astounded. You know, you laid a path, you set like in this, and I have a program called Leveraging Intentions, and that's what I teach in that. I'll tell everybody right now, you set the stage. You say, okay, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I know exactly I want to create XYZ, and it's going to happen. All right. I feel it. I feel the outcome. It's like it's already happened.
Yep.
And then what do? You leave it the hell alone and go do something else. And
Yeah.
that just loses people. And I'm like, if you want it to come and come swift, leave it the hell alone. You set the stage and then you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when magic, that is, I'm telling you, I have achieved more things in my life. You know, a whole living room full of brand new furniture. That just came in the blink of an eye
Mm-hmm.
once I left it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, and I pay not a dime for that.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone and done events and been places, and worked with people that I'm not allowed to talk about, but because I've had to sign the waivers, the confidentiality waivers. I have had magic, and everybody is capable of that. Everybody, you just set that stage, you put it out there, and then leave it alone. Because if you try to dictate it, it'll send you everywhere but where you want to be because you get too distracted. So just let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So share your story about manifesting $100 bills.
Oh my God. Okay. I'll try to make it quick. The manifesting the $100 bills was really amazing to me. And like literally I did not know these were here. What happened was I had been my program Leveraging Intentions was it's just a little mini workshop program, had been in existence for a year. And that it's all came down to me putting out exactly what I just told you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. You set the stage, you say this is what I want, you acknowledge it, you embrace it, you feel into it, you celebrate it like it's already happened. All right, I already have $600. Yes, which I didn't even do that. And then you walk away
Mm-hmm.
and you don't think about it anymore. So this is how I started. Well, I created the program. It had been in existence for a year. And I like to play and experiment. My life is always an experiment. That's why you cannot fail. If you take
Mm-hmm.
everything as an experiment, failure goes out the door.
Right.
It completely does not exist because then you're like, okay, so this didn't quite give me the outcome I want. Let me try something else. I didn't fail. I was collecting data,
Mm-hmm.
and I've collected all this. Now I know that this is not where I want to go. So I've been playing with it, and stuff started coming at rapid succession for me. Like several, my highest paying speaking gigs just rapidly came to me I had not even set the stage to do those, had not put out anything that I wanted to do them, nothing. I'm just, my goal was, it was so vague. It was that I wanted to step more fully into what I needed to do at this point in my life. I think it can change. Our life purpose
Mm-hmm.
can go a bajillion different
Yeah.
directions. Free will. That's That's a doozy. But so I had set like a really loose goal with no attachments to it. You know, not that I want to have a new car by Thursday. And you know, I didn't do that. I just set that. And so stuff started coming. And then, you know, I started winning all kinds of things. Like, I want, it's like just fun stuff. Like, because I was celebrating the fun in my life. I was with a whole year of celebration of fun. So you know, kayak trips, sailing trips, didn't pay for them. I mean, they were starting to come. And I was like, you know what? You know what I should do? I wonder if I applied this, you know, to money, how that would work. Should I, you know, because I was not even thinking about monetarily things, even though I'm getting higher paid gigs and, you know, and all this. I wasn't even thinking about the money. And I'm like, and would anybody even believe me? Would anybody buy into that? You know, I should just put together an experiment and see if anybody wants to play along and then do a little beta course and see how that'll work. You know, should I do this? And then I was like, you know, I don't know if I should or not. You know, should I? And then I dropped it. I completely dropped it from my mind and went to pick up something out of my dresser, socks. I don't know. It wasn't important. And in rapid succession, I found 6 $100 bills, one after the other, after the other, after the other, in my drawers that I did not know existed. A few of them were some things that were my father's that I had inherited that I've been through, like a journal thing of his, been through, never even saw the money, you know, never saw it there. And because some of the $100 bills were not new $100. And, you know, I was like, you know, and that, of course, that through, I look at me, I'm still this way. I still get emotional over it. It's so overwhelming to me that it would happen like that fast. So I'm like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I went and took pictures of myself immediately with it.
Yeah. I remember
but
those
that
pictures.
is how it happened. I mean, that is literally how it happened. I didn't even have, I wasn't looking for money for myself. I was like, I wonder if I should apply these techniques now that I've done leveraging intentions, if I should apply it to money, you know? And, you know, should I put together an experimental group and just show people? Because some of these things are things I've done my whole life. And maybe I should try this, you know? And I'm like, whatever.
And you definitely were very playful about it. I remember.
It was
very light.
Crazy. Crazy. You know, I'm like, you can't make that up. But I'm like, here's the proof. Here's the proof. I did not have this money. Wish I would have had that money at some point. Yeah. But, you know, $600 out of the ethers was a really big deal to me. To be able to pull 6 $100 bills from the ethers was huge, huge deal to me. And, you know, I can discount things left and right. That was the hardest core physical evidence of anything I've ever gotten. Ever. And I'm like, okay, shit, I'm really not alone, am I? I mean, they're like listening. And people are directing. Okay, you know, so that, and I did, and I had to do all that in a playful thing, because I find that people, you know, when we get too serious and too hard, we work against ourselves, which is what I've said so many times today, that I do like to present that type of thing playfully. And, you know, after I gathered my shit back together, I'm like, I have lost it. You know, I'm like, ah! I have found the key to everything. Everybody lay your hands on the monitor. Get us happy. You know, I mean, let me share with you. About to change the world. Yeah. But, you know.
But I think something you just said is really important. You didn't see them. And how many times have we heard that money is everywhere around us? Yes. We just don't see it. We can't see it. And I was just listening to this thing about how these tribes people, they didn't have a word for the color blue. They had, I don't know, hundreds of words for green. But they were shown a palette of colors with all green with one blue box. And they were shown it. They could not see the blue box. How much money is around every single person that is watching, that is listening, that has been praying and calling for money, and it's there.
It's there, and if it's not in your awareness, it's like whenever you start counting all the yellow cars, then that's all you see is yellow cars. It's brought into your awareness. And so, yeah, we did a whole lot of techniques and things like that of bringing the money into the awareness. And I swear to God, it was nothing I was ever planning on doing in this lifetime. Never thought that I would be a person that would present. Like, it was not on my radar until it kicked me in the butt. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But that's a perfect example of alignment too.
Yeah.
For people that have never experienced that feeling, it's like, because I think for me, I struggled so many years trying to make things happen. But then when I released all of that and did the show, things just flowed, and I knew I was in alignment because everything was lining up, and it was pretty effortless. And same thing for you. You said, should I apply this to money? And what happened? Alignment.
And I bet if I would have tried to say, I only want to do this with money, I would have blocked out everything, I immediately, the thought just filtered through. I mean, it filtered and I released it. And then what the hell happened? So that's why I don't like to do the hardcore focus on anything, because if I would have focused on it, I want to do this with money, I want to do a program, and probably I would venture to say may not have happened have I been trying to force my way into it. It was completely organic. I mean, it just flowed. It came, whether I was ready or not. I just opened the doors, and it was filtering thought. So yeah, that was probably the most tangible evidence I've ever gotten in the physical form of something like that. Not talking about esoteric things, but that was huge for me.
But isn't that just where you're bringing the esoteric into the physical?
Absolutely, it was. And see, a part of me is like, I had seen so much in the esoteric realm that,
and you're talking about like spirits and
yes,
and what is that called, ectoplasm or stuff?
Yeah, I've seen that too. That is for another show. I've literally seen someone levitate. That is for another show. But levitation is real. Wasn't the only one that saw it. There were no tricks involved, but but yeah, and so I played within this realm, and sometimes I think that even though I love the physicality of my body, I got comfortable within that realm, and sometimes like I said, I'm always going to be learning, and that crosses over. I have been manifesting other kinds of things at rapid fire, and I was thinking in the concept of fun, because that was my year of fun, of celebrating that I had made it another year. Because I had gotten really sick and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do anything that is not fun for me. And, and then it just started coming. And I wasn't really, planning. So yeah, I did have physical things. I had the trips and all of that kind of stuff, and all of that did come into the physical play. But, I just really, money was not what I just wasn't searching for it. It just wasn't on my agenda.
So, what's coming to mind, since I've known you for a few years now and watching this process, that for a long time you were doing your Reiki grids, and it was all about love, and you were completely in service doing all of this. You allowed people to participate for free, and you were doing this quite frequently. And so I'm curious, I want to talk about what shifted, because I think there was a shift in your ability to receive, because you shifted, and it sounds like there was something that happened. There was a catalyst that shifted between you putting, because you were doing those grids for a while, and then you stopped, and then you shifted. Mm-hmm. So do you know what that was?
Yes, and I will tell you, and I do still do free grids and stuff like that. I don't do them as frequently because I don't have as much time as I did at that point. Um, However, it's really humbling. I receive so much whenever I'm able to give at that high level that that was actually the shift. I had more and more and more people to come in, and um, and I love it whenever it's packed. The energy's high. There's so many people there for me to be of service, and you know, and I've been a lifetime of someone, you know, to that would do service related stuff. I've done that for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I still help run a nonprofit, but um, there's something that shifted, and I give credit to the Reiki itself. It just opened doors for things to be provided for me, um, based on the level of service. Honestly, it was just me being pure.
Mm-hmm.
All I've ever wanted in my entire life was to be pure. That's all I've ever talked about. I just want to be a pure vehicle. I just want to be whatever the pure message is, love, whatever it is. I just want to be pure. And it gave me that at such a larger um, ratio than I'd ever had before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because people kept coming and they kept coming. And that energy, I just want to say that me being able to. Ah, well, you got me good on that one, didn't you? Me being able to give at that level, um, to that much, it was just that was the shift that was a shift in and of itself. You know, it was just like, all right, there you go. Let's just here you go, mirror. Let's be a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in loving that, I receive love back. And sending Reiki, I'm not sending to myself. I've done many grids where I didn't have anything happening for me. But yet stuff would happen for me anyway because I was there for that level of service.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what this shift was, is just allowing myself to be present at that level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it also requires you to continue expanding your own energy to allow to hold space for all of those people. I mean, that takes a lot of energy to hold that space. And that it requires you to continue expanding and expanding and expanding. And then it's like, as you were sending that out, the energy needed to come back in.
Uh-huh.
So it was like that cycle.
It
Now
is
I'm
very,
getting chills.
it's so humbling. It's, it is. It's so humbling because it's, you know, all I ever wanted was to be a pure source, a pure vehicle, whatever. You know, I just wanted to be the purest I could be. And that's, I mean, from early childhood, that's like all I ever wanted, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained, and see, and I will tell you, there was some incidents that I had some, there's been a lot of drama and traumatic deaths in my family on both sides. And you know how family dynamics are. I love my family deeply. And is I'd already started doing the grids and everything, and had been doing them for a while, the big grids. I'd done grids for 19 years,
Mm-hmm.
but the big ones with lots of people in them.
Yes.
And I went to my cousin was only 28 and passed away, leaving behind his family, and it was a very traumatic death. And I went to, which we've had so many of, and I went to the funeral to be there for my aunt, who was his grandmother, and well, I went for everybody, but that side of my family has just been through so much trauma. That's the side that my grandmother died on. It's been one horrendous thing after the other. And everybody is always charged
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much that lingers there.
Right.
And
Especially when everybody comes together. It's like it's
oh
all
yeah,
amplified.
it is. And I love them so much with every fiber of my being. And I went, and I didn't say, I didn't go to talk about anything. I didn't go to say anything. I just went to be. And the love that pulled or flowed forth from my body does not, I was a physical container, but my physical body just didn't feel like it could hold it all. I didn't say anything. I just went there to hold and to hug and to be there. And it was coming from a different angle. I came home and, I was afraid in the past years and years back, I'd pick up things, obviously, because I'm clairsentient and I would feel so much stuff. Didn't feel any of it. Love took over everything and poured forth. And I came home and I called my best friend and I'm like, we need to get together immediately. And I told her, we got together and I said, I just need to see you because I might die. And I said, I just want to see you one more time. And she's like, what? I said, this is what I wanted my whole life, is just to be able to be that pure source of love and step out and let anything come through me. And I'm like literally shaking. And I said, and I told her, and she knows the family dynamics and the stuff with my family. And I just love them so much. But I can't fix it. I can only love. And all of that just came through and came through and came through. I'm like, I've served my life purpose. So I don't know if I'm going to be alive much longer. And I just want to tell you I love you. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, it's the absolute truth. I was like, I think I may have served my purpose now. And I love you. But I'm still here. So maybe
you are. You have so much more love to give.
So, that was another thing that went through with this show. So,
yeah, nice, nice. Well, I'm so glad that I got to witness that and watch that because, yeah, you have always been such a giver, and you have a heart of gold. So,
thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot. I really appreciate that.
If only I could hand you a hanky.
I want a hug in person now.
I know. See, that's why I have to do these shows in person because it's like the energy is so much better and so much.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I want to just hug you right now, but I can't. Yes. So, in the spirit of giving, you have a gift for the viewers. So, please tell us about that.
Okay, I sent two to you, and I'm happy for everybody to take advantage of both of them. One is releasing failure around money, and then the other is the failure myth. Both of those involve the concept of failure, and I like to dispel that. Money's a big trigger for people, which is, I did that one second. They're both short, about 45 minutes each one. So they're short, quick workshops, and it's just helping you to reframe your thinking. And the emphasis is on both of them. They both come down to the same common denominator, is that in life, we're here to gather data. That everything, if you take it from an experimental mode, then you never ever fail. I'm so tired of people thinking that they failed when you haven't. You have not. You're gathering data, and that's what both workshops do that. And from different angles, money was just a big one that I just went and did a whole one around money because I've experienced a lot of issues myself, or else I would have no business talking about what I talk about if I haven't learned so much, and we'll continue to learn, obviously, but just want to shift the mindset into an experimental mode so people don't get so uptight about themselves. So I really, it just hurts me for people to feel that they failed or that they're not appropriate, they're not up to par, or anybody's better than anybody else. So, none of that exists. It doesn't. And things start with a simple mindset change. I say simple. It can take years and it can be complex at times, but once you get it, you get it. And so both of those, if everybody could grab those, and use them, use them.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. You can acquire and get all this information in your head, but if you don't actually apply it, it's not going to do you much good.
Yes. So you want to play and enjoy it and experiment. Life is an experiment.
It is. It is. Well, and this was such an amazing conversation, and thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable and transparent, and it was such a great conversation.
Thank you. I enjoy it. And you look radiant today, by the way. I'm just eating you off with your lipstick and your shirt. So beautiful and coral. Wear that more often. I love it.
I just, got into the zone, and I don't know, there was something about sitting here with you today that made me wear the red lipstick. I never wear red lipstick, but all for you.
These are, I love it. It's stunning.
Thank
You're
you.
stunning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.